we will go ahead and move on without him. So we'll start off with the pledge. Councilman Smith, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:45 PM. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Shayla Motta. Here. Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kurt Crespin.
Here.
David Zavala. Manuel Temez.
Here.
Brett Bates.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Kristen Swartz.
Here.
Lance Clark.
Don Stearman up here for Lance.
Thanks, Don.
All right, so we've had a chance to review the minutes. Were there any questions or changes or corrections to the minutes? Don't see them in.
I didn't see any. I didn't see any either.
Let's look here for the minutes.
They don't appear to be in.
They're not.
We can approve the minutes, however, they're not in the packet.
Mine were in.
For the digital site, or
Mhm.
that's not the minutes.
Oh, no, it's not.
Minutes
Sorry.
from the previous
It's
meeting.
in the bills.
The bills are in there, but not the minutes.
Oh, you're right.
So I would say we table it and try to get both of them approved next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table the minutes for the Lamar Redevelopment Authority Board for tonight until next meeting. We can approve both at the same time. All in favor, signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the payment of bills. We have a payment for Neil and Rinda Emick on the Nord June Structural Rehab Grant. I know there were some questions as far as the payment portion. Did we want to talk about that, or did we get that all worked out?
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. You can,
So that's your lender. Holy, yeah, something construction.
It's their lender, okay? All right. Do we have any other questions for the redevelopment board?
I don't have any.
And have they already started filling those? Are they open now? The apartments?
I think there's one person in there.
I didn't know if they were open.
I see one vehicle there.
Just curious.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. They may be looking at it, moving stuff, getting ready, but I haven't
We
seen
should
it.
check
go.
on that, cause I talked to Neil when he was at the restaurant the other day and he said they're Airbnb-ing it, but I haven't looked on Airbnb.
Well, if they're Airbnb, we must have got a deal.
Yeah, because I've seen like different vehicle pickups, so I don't know if they're out of town hunters or what, but I've seen.
That'd be more than likely, cause they've been in with
Yeah.
a lot of hunters
Right.
lately.
Really nice. If you guys can pass by there, just check out the outside.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the bill, payment of bills?
I make the motion to pay the bills.
A second?
A motion and a second to pay the bills. Any final discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay, next item on the agenda is resolution number LRA 24-10-01. A resolution appropriating sums of money necessary for the 2025 budget for the Lamar Redevelopment Authority Board. This is our annual budget review. We did that earlier. So this would just be the approval of that resolution. And you should have a copy of the budget there as well. you have any questions from the council?
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution number LRA 241001. Any final questions? Seeing none. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, any miscellaneous items that we wanted to go over tonight for the LRA board? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion with Jerry, second with Brent. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, we'll have a short break between this meeting and the next. We'll start right at 7.
Did you tell them that we need to shift the numbers one?
Yeah,
We were just discussing that.
Your redevelopment minutes are down page 53 in your,
They're on 53.
they're right after the minutes of the regular meeting.
Oh, in the regular meeting.
Yes, sir. Oh, I don't, or did you already?
You know, we can't really approve the minutes in our regular meeting for the
Did they already-
board.
Didn't think they came in, I didn't
Oh, yeah.
thought of
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, October 28th, 2024 meeting for the city of Lamar. I'm Mayor Kirk Crespin. Couple of quick items I wanted to point out as we get ready to start the meeting. You know, we just had our street department finish up their annual street work, paving projects for the year. I know they have a little bit more tidying up and a few little projects that they need to finish up, but I really want to thank them for all of the work that they did. I mean, first off, it is not easy work out there being in this heat, so I want to thank them very much for all that hard work. And to the community, I want to thank you for your patience. Every year we go through this process, and I know there's individuals that get their driveways blocked or their streets blocked, and it becomes a little bit of a hassle. So thank you for your patience as we do this every year, and hopefully every year it makes our community better and better. Second thing I'd like to mention is that some of you may have seen on my mayor page this past week, I had posted and shared a post of and some activity that had happened with our police department. As I said in my post, you know, the council and I, we and the city administrator and the new police chief discussed some of the goals. And one of those goals was to really come down on the illegal drugs in our community. And that's been a focus of Police Chief Fair. And I really thank him for that and thank him for the leadership in getting that done. And I hope we continue to do this. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's not only about the work that they're doing. It's also about building awareness of what this problem is in our community and what you can do as a community member to help fix this problem. It's not going to be an easy fix. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not just in Lamar, Colorado. It's throughout our nation. Fentanyl is a huge issue, and we can't battle this alone. It's going to take a community to make it work. So I encourage you to learn about it, get more information. If you have questions or tips, I've shared the tip line for you on our Facebook page. It is also on our city webpage. We appreciate everything that the Lamar Police Department are doing to try to keep our community and our children safe. And we want to encourage that and support them as much as possible. Thank you very much, Chief Fair. We really appreciate all you're doing. And then last but not least, this is a very busy week with so many different treat streets and activities that are happening. Last week, they had a successful Moonlight Madness. But every year, it's one of those things where I get a little nervous when we have Moonlight Madness downtown. There are so many kids and families walking up and down Main Street, crossing the street. We have semis going through town. We have traffic going through town. Luckily, you know, we haven't had an issue with this, but we want to make sure that it stays safe. So during this week, as kids are out there trick-or-treating and attending these different events, please be very mindful to watch out for these kids and make sure that they're safe and keep an eye out for that. So I do want to thank everybody that's making those efforts, and I hope that you'll keep an eye out for that during this week, especially. With that all said, we do have a busy agenda, so we will move on to the agenda. We do have the invocation with Galen Burnett. Galen, would you like to lead us in the invocation tonight? He's bringing you a microphone there.
Thank you. Father, we want to thank you and praise you for all your love for us that you have for each one of us. Father, thank you for that. Thank you for your work in our community, helping us to make some progress in several areas. Father, I like the new street paving that they've been putting in, and we know that comes from part of your work in helping us to enable our community, to improve our community. Father, we thank you that you've given us good workers in our city here. And we thank you for our city council and for our administration and all the workers. Father, we pray that you'll just be putting your protection around them as you protect our city. We pray that you'll be helping them to come up with the right decisions that they need to be working on. We pray for the city council tonight to have wisdom and insight into the discussions, the decisions that have to be made tonight. Father, we just pray that you'll protect us and anoint us. And we thank you for all of that. We thank you for your work, and we do this in the name of our Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Councilman Jeanette, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:05 PM. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Shayla Motta. Here. Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kirk Cressman.
Here.
David Zavala.
Here.
Manuel Temez.
Here.
Brent Bates.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Kristen Swartz.
Here.
Don Stearman.
Here.
Okay. We've all had a chance to review the agenda. I did not see any changes that needed to be made. Did anyone else?
I didn't see any either.
Okay. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. Were there any items that needed to be separated out and voted on separately?
Once again, I didn't see any.
Okay, I didn't either. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public comment portion of the meeting. This is the audience participation portion. During this portion, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak to the council? Okay. Seeing none, as always, I'll encourage you, if you do have questions or concerns or comments for the council, this is your time to speak to the council in the open session. So if you do have questions, please bring them to the council meeting. Or as we will be having next week, we'll be having our Common Grounds meeting at 7 AM next Wednesday. You can also meet with the council at that time to discuss your concerns. Next item on the agenda is reports and correspondence. First off, we'll start with the city treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have included in your packet tonight, the annual write-offs, that we do. They were approved by the Light and Power Board, at their last meeting on, I believe it was on the 15th. The write-offs are down a little bit this year. So that was encouraging. They were able to write off all of 2023. So that is in there for your information. And I would entertain any questions that you have on it. So the way this works for the newer council members is that the uncollectible accounts we write off a certain amount of them each year, and you have to expense those out. So it follows water and sewer follows electricity because a bulk of most of the majority of the bills are electric. So we write off a certain amount of dollars each year. So this year we were able to get caught up and write off the uncollectible accounts. We still do attempt to collect them through the collection agencies, but this gets them off our books for financial reasons.
Do we have a specific collection agency we work with? Was that a bid item or was that?
Wasn't a bid item. We are in the
So-
process of looking at it. We've been using Wakefield. but,
Yeah.
and they're going to
Always used in the past, but.
they're going to terminate us as a client. We're too small. So we are looking at, we had reached out 2 years ago to, yes, the same one that we use for our ambulance collections that we've been extremely happy with, that BC Services.
Okay,
And they had offered their services to us then. So Linda's been in contact with them, trying to collect some more information from them.
okay,
We've been extremely happy with them. And doing our collections
Yeah,
for
our
the ambulance service.
collections
They're
are-
amazing.
Very good.
okay. All right, and then you have the grants update?
I do, I don't have a lot tonight. We've been Tess and Anne Marie, me some working on the EPA grant that you'll see a public hearing on tonight. looking for some grants, working on the ones that we're going to apply for 2025. We did get notification that we were denied our grant from FEMA, and that was the one that we had applied for radios for the fire department. So we were unsuccessful in that one. We keep trying that one. I don't recall ever being successful, but we're gonna keep trying every year. But anyway, so that was all really the information I had. We've had some meetings on TAP grant. We're waiting on CDOT to move us forward with a notice to proceed on that so we can go out for bid on that. We had a meeting on the funding for the wastewater treatment plant. We're still moving forward on the CDS funding process through EPA. It's quite a lengthy process. So we've been working on that. We've been waiting on them to give us an answer whether we'll have to go out for bid for an engineer for the design services. So, and it looks encouraging that we'll be able to go forward with what we have. So we should know about that sometime this week. So that we've been working actively on those and having meetings on those. But was there any others that you had any questions on?
Anybody?
I don't have any.
And Thomas and I are continuing to work lots of hours on the Tyler conversion. We've had several meetings. We're trying to get the data that we sent them wasn't in the correct format. So Thomas has spent endless hours working through ADG and with Tyler to get that in the correct format, to get it so that we can get that downloaded to Tyler. I'm working on some documents on how our purchase orders need to look and our checks and different things like that. So it's just a continual process. It looks like maybe that first full week in January, they are having us commit to somewhere between 16 and 25 hours of meetings that week for several different reasons. So it's a continual process going forward. I think fairly nicely. So we're continuing to work on that.
Quick question. What is
Yes,
on the traffic study? How's that going?
So I'm working on the RFP right now. We got some information on the scope of work. So I'm working on that this week. Gonna get a draft to Rob and Al for them to look at before I send it out. And we're gonna talk about the means that I need to send it out. We can use our bidding BidNet or something like that if we have to, but our next step is to go out for bid on that traffic study. We've got a pretty clear scope now of what we want to do. So we're going to go out for bids, and then I would assume it's going to be right after the first of the year, probably by the time we get bids back and evaluate and get you guys to approve a bid and award a bid and get into contract with somebody. So I would imagine with holidays and stuff like that, it'll probably be close to the first of the year before we get that rolling.
Did you find more vendors that maybe?
Yep, and Al's been doing a fantastic job contacting. We've got several now that we'll direct mail to.
Okay.
And then we'll just do a whole solicitation and see what else we get.
Okay.
Go pretty wide with the RFP and see what we can get. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Rob.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous items to ask the city treasurers?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on, we have the city clerk's report. Linda?
I just have a few items. In the month of September, there were 1,792 tax returns posted. For new licenses, we had 2 Lamar and 6 non-Lamar licenses with 2 Lamar accounts closing. In our residential services, we had 59 electric and 42 water connects, along with 47 electric and 30 water disconnects. In our commercial services, we had 7 electric and 1 water connect, along with 4 electric and 0 water connects. And for our cemetery, we've had 1 lot purchased at Fairmount, along with 2 opening and closings, and 1 opening and closing in the veterans section. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Anyone?
Thank you.
The only question I have is, I'm not sure, do you still work on the city Christmas party? Have you got that scheduled yet? Or we,
Well, so our Christmas party was scheduled for December 7th. We just carried it over from last year. I am in the process of getting some different menu items with costs. And I was going to bring those to the next council meeting.
okay,
And then Rob is taking care of having some other staff take care of awards and years of service and stuff like that.
okay. Just thought I'd ask. Thank you. Any questions for the city clerk?
No, thank you, Linda.
I don't have any.
All right, we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Coffee with Rob this week. It's gonna be Wednesday at AM Breakfast House. We have some regulars and we have some other ones that come up, and it was a pretty big showing last time, so thank you for your participation. I know this is a big event and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Lamar Library's Trunk or Treat is gonna be on Thursday between 5 and 7. The parking lot just south of the library. We're gonna have plenty of scary, spooky stuff for the kids and lots of candy. So it's gonna be fun. We always have every year more and more people, and there's a lot of kids that show up, so it's fun to watch too. Let me see. The Lamar PD Auxiliary is having a Day of the Dead celebration at North Gateway Park on November 2nd at 4:30 to 6:30. And there's a flyer. I think you can see that online as well. More details. Some of the projects that we're going to be going through over the next few weeks and what we've just completed is talking about the library. The day after the trunk or treat, we're going to have the winter reading program, starts 1 November. In IT, I know that it's basically all things Tyler, what we've been going through and what we will be going through, including things like the formats that they need to dump from ADG. We've got hardware rep coming out on Wednesday. I know that the SAN purchase is going to be, I think to do it by Friday, maybe by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Probably so. Yeah, as long as Kristen's good with that. Yeah. Let's see, the police. Just so you know, some of these, you had mentioned that information that's going in and out about our police department. Over 1,000 Facebook followers on their website now. So more and more people are paying attention and are getting information from them. So just wanted you to know that our visibility is increasing on there. They're going to be doing a Toys for Tots. And I don't have the date on here, but they're going to be working with the State Patrol, our police, and the Broward County Sheriff's Department. So that's coming up. Do you know what day that's on? I should have taken that note down, but I didn't. I just know that it's coming up soon. Let's see. They're going to be partnering with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations on a drug enforcement task force and a lot of different issues. So bottom line is I saw a lot of those guys running around. So there's going to be a lot of different people you're going to see around here. The visibility, people who are not doing things they should be doing are going to see lots of other boots on the ground around here. So I think it's going to be a discouraging thing, and it's good. That's good.
Yes, it is.
So Parks and Rec, they just finished up their flag football, tackle football in the youth programs, flag and tackle football, soccer. So there's a lot of things that just got done with on those fields, and we're going to be, as long as we can, we're going to do as much as we can, repair and getting ready. We can get a jump start. We have some more soil samples and others, water samples that are going to our contractors, so we can, and we're going to have multiple people to be able to look at this thing so we can get the best person on this. But we are still working on this. The so visibility is out there. We're working on Escondido, and we're going to make sure it's right. Public Works, congratulations again. I want to say thank you from your boss that I appreciate the job that you guys do, and I see it out there all the time, and you guys always make us look good up here, and I want to say thank you. Tell all the guys I said thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Taxiway A project is still ongoing. There are millions of dollars going in at the airport. They're doing a great job out there. I mean, it's a big deal out there. There's lots of equipment, lots of stuff going on there, and I think that makes our airport one of those diamonds out there in this area, a regional airport, we've got a lot of potential out there. The lead service line inventory, 13th of November, I believe, is when they're going to be starting. Is that correct? Good. And right, as you mentioned, they're still going to do a few things. They're going to do crack sealing and paving and patching. Make sure that all the little bitty pieces, not the big major projects, but they're still doing a little bit of work in there, but they're cleaning up that milling machine and getting it ready to send back. And it was good timing. Everything worked out just right. I believe that's all I have for our projects. I wanted to give you guys a chance to ask me questions about what's going on. I know you had one for later. I can get that from you afterwards.
I do have one, the trunk or treat that's happening, this is gonna take up the whole parking lot in the back, is that right?
We, if everybody showed up, right now, the last couple of years have just been,
Well, I know last year we met and we had discussed having some temporary
Mhm.
handicap signs for placement. Did we work on that and get some set up?
We have, and we will have somebody there waiting and we're gonna have signs up, temporary signs to show them, handicap parking to come here. We're gonna reserve a spot for anybody that
Okay, I just want to make sure we get that covered
Mhm.
this year.
we
so,
have.
If you don't mind.
Did you get more information on the camera in the park? You said you were gonna let me know
Which one was this?
on Riverside. The parent said that she would put her own camera.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do some follow-up.
I can get back, and this is a good place to put it out, is that we've had, in general, we don't allow everybody to put them out there. It's not that big of a liability deal. It's controlling them all.
Mhm.
And people are climbing up in there and we will put up cameras. If you want to give it to us and ask us to do it and let us put it up, I would much rather it be us put it up and control them all,
I will
because we've told,
give you a call.
because our rules say don't put it outside of each one of the plots. And if you're putting it up on a tree that's not on your plot, then that's sort of breaking the rules. So I will put up as many cameras. We're putting up more cameras on our own. But if they want to take care of their own,
I will have her give.
okay, yeah, just have them contact me. We'll
Okay.
get them. Okay.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, this was a damaging incident where they wanted to bring a camera to have it inspected, is that right? Like
Yeah, they
a,
were
some kind of a
damaging.
cam.
the-
Yes,
Yeah.
their plot, and they wanted to put a camera to
Like a game
verify,
cam or
like a
something.
game camera.
So just I just wanted to make sure that
Yes, sir.
everybody was aware of what we were talking about.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any last questions? Any other questions?
I don't have any.
I did get a text while you were talking. The Lamar Police Department's proud to partner with the State Patrol and Broward County Sheriffs to help with the Toys for Tots campaign on November 29th at the Lamar Walmart from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Somebody texted that over to me.
State Patrol.
We'll have a couple more meetings, but I just wanted
In
to,
Lamar, November 29th from 8 to 3 p.m. So just wanted to share that.
thank you.
All right, with no other questions for the city administrator, we will move on to our council liaison reports.
There's not much to report on my end. Planning and zoning did meet. There's a developer coming in that's wanting to develop 6 lots over there on Langston Heights. So he's requesting some rezoning issues over there, or some rezoning. Planning and zoning will be holding their public hearing in reference to that, I believe, November the 3rd. Or no, December the 3rd, and then they'll bring that back to city council for approval.
Okay.
And I don't have anything from the golf board. They haven't met yet here recently, so the next meeting will be in 2 more weeks. So when they meet, I'll be able to bring back a report from there.
Kayla,
I do not have an update this evening.
Terry?
I wasn't able to make it to our public safety because I had to work, but Mike did make it, and I don't know if Mike wants to give a little whatever they did know.
No,
Okay.
not really supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not really supposed to.
I did go to the library board meeting and I gotta wait for more information on that one to share with you guys.
David?
No, I don't have any at the moment, but I did join Anne Marie at the historical meeting that just happened. It was pretty interesting to learn about, and just look forward to doing some more.
Great. Manuel? Okay, Brent?
Was not able to attend PEP last week. We had LPI today. It was the first meeting without Martha there, so we're gonna be reorganizing a little bit. There'll be some changes to their cycle program in the future after the first of the year. And we are also going to start advertising soon for open board positions. So if you're interested in Lamar's Partnership Inc.'s Main Street program, keep an eye out on the LPI page. It's Lamar Partnership Inc. And I just want to wish Martha best wishes in her new career.
Okay. And I did not have anything. We did meet with PMC earlier this month, but that was before the last meeting, so nothing new since. So we will move on with the rest of the agenda. The next item on the agenda is amend resolution number 241002 to repeal section 6 for the donated leave and replace with chapter 3. This is an item for the sick leave sharing program for the city of Lamar's employees. However, it's my understanding we don't have the final version of the resolution. Is that correct?
No, sir.
So we would just need to table that again.
I'll make a
or-
motion to table agenda item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table agenda item number 1 for the next meeting. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, number 2, ordinance number 1274, providing for the appropriation of revenues and expenditures and adopting the budget for the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Of course, since this is an ordinance, we do need to read this out in public session. So Kristen had gracefully offered to read this. So we will go ahead and get it started.
Ordinance number 1274, an ordinance providing for the appropriation of revenues and expenditures and adopting the budget for the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado. Section 1, the various appropriations from the revenue of the City of Lamar, Colorado to defray the expenses and liabilities thereof during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025 shall be under the following heads: General Fund, E911 Fund, Sales Tax Fund, Conservation Trust Fund, Unemployment Fund, Victims Assistance Fund, Capital Improvement Fund, Lamar Building Finance Corp., Library Fund, Fairmont Investment Fund, Sanitation Fund, Water and Sewer Fund, Lamar Ambulance Fund, and the Airport Fund. Section 2, the following amounts under the respective funds are hereby appropriated out of the revenue that shall accrue to the said city during fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025. General Fund, $11,887,405. E911 Fund, $837,480. Sales Tax Fund, $5,717,070. Conservation Trust Fund, $130,000. Unemployment Fund, $10,000. Victims Assistance Fund, $17,750. Capital Improvement Fund, $3,850,800. Lamar Building Finance Corp., $1,000. Library Fund, $37,000. Fairmount Investment Fund, $40,500. Airport Fund, $1,441,802. Sanitation Fund, $2,504,998. Water Sewer Fund, $7,491,472. Lamar Ambulance Fund, $981,139. Section 3, the budget as follows is hereby adopted for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025. General Fund revenue, $11,887,405. Expenditures, $11,887,405. Revenues over and under expenditures, 0. Total appropriation for the general fund, $11,887,405. E911 Fund revenues, $837,480. Expenditures, $837,480. Revenues over and under expenditures, 0. Total appropriation, E911 Fund, $837,480. Sales Tax Fund revenues, $5,717,070. Expenditures, $5,717,070. Revenues over and under, zero. Total appropriation sales tax fund, $5,717,070. Conservation Trust Fund, revenues including fund balance, $130,000. Expenditures, $130,000. Total revenues over and under expenditures, zero. Total appropriation for the Conservation Trust is $130,000. Unemployment Fund, revenues including fund balance, $10,000. Expenditures, $10,000. Revenues over and under expenditures, zero. Total appropriation for the Unemployment Fund is $10,000. Victims Assistance Fund, revenues including fund balance used, $17,750. Expenditures, $17,750. Revenues over under expenditures, zero. Total appropriation for the Victims Assistance Fund, $17,750. Capital Improvement Fund, revenues including fund balance used, $3,850,800. Expenditures, $3,827,600. Revenues over and under expenditures, $23,200. Total appropriation for the Capital Improvement Fund, $3,850,800. Lamar Building Finance Corporation, operating revenue is $1,000. Operating expenditures is zero. Net income loss is $1,000. Library Fund revenues, $37,000. Revenues over expenditures, $36,800. Revenues over and under expenditures, $200. Total appropriation Library Fund is $37,000. Fairmont Investment Fund, revenues including fund balance used, $40,500. Expenditures, $40,500. Revenues over and under expenditures is zero. Total appropriation Fairmont Investment is $40,500. Airport Fund, operating revenue, $725,000. Operating expenditures, $956,496. Net operating income is a negative $231,496. Non-operating revenue is $716,802. Non-operating expenditures is $485,306. Net non-operating income is $231,496. Net income or loss is zero. Sanitation Fund, operating revenues, $1,696,300. Operating expenditures, $1,465,189. Net operating income, $231,111. Non-operating revenue, $808,698. Non-operating expenditures, $1,039,809. Net operating income, negative $231,111. Net income or loss is zero. Water Sewer Fund, operating revenue, $3,479,500. Operating expenditures, $2,159,779. Net operating income is $1,319,721. Non-operating revenue, $4,011,972. Non-operating expenditures, $5,331,693. Non-operating income, negative $1,319,721. Net income or loss is zero. Lamar Ambulance Fund, revenues including fund balance used, $981,139. Expenditures, $981,139. Revenues over and under expenditures is zero. Section 4, there's hereby pursuant to Article 11 of the Charter of said City of Lamar, Colorado, appropriated from the revenue of the Utilities Board, the sum of $1,698,186. Passed on second reading, ordered and published the 28th day of October 2025.
Okay. Thank you very much for reading that.
Welcome.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance number 1274?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Next item, ordinance number 1275 to levy and collect taxes in the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. And Councilman Tomaz offered to read this one. It's a short one.
Ordinance number 1275, an ordinance to levy and collect taxes in the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado, Section 1, that for the purpose of meeting all general operating expenses of the city of Lamar during the 2025 budget year, there is hereby levied a tax of 13.239 mils upon each dollar of the total valuation
for assessment of all taxable property within the city of Lamar for the year 2024. Section 2, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to immediately certify to the county commissioners of Prowers County, Colorado, the mill levy for the city of Lamar as here and above determined and set. Introduced and read in full, passed on first reading, this being the second reading, passed in the second reading. On this, the 28th of October, 2024.
Okay. It's a long one. One thing I would like to note is that this is the 37th consecutive year that the city has operated without needing to increase the property tax mill levy. So that is a great thing. Do we have a motion to approve this ordinance on the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Moving on to new business, we have a public hearing regarding the EPA Brownsfield cleanup grant application. So of course, as a public hearing, we would need to move into a public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter into the public hearing. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, we are now entering into the public hearing. Of course, this is to schedule a public hearing to take comments on an application to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. This grant application is in pursuance to the funding to carry out cleanup activities on the former Main Cafe property at 114 South Main Street and the upstairs property at 112 South Main and the South Warehouse property 111B West Beach Street here in Lamar to support the redevelopment of these sites. So with that said, I will ask the staff, do you want to hand out your information? And Anne Marie will be speaking on this, I take it? Oh, it'd be Tess.
Thank you, Ms. Tess.
Okay. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this cleanup grant application?
Sure. So we've been working on trying to find funding for the Main Cafe, and this is just the next step we're taking. And part of this one will also be the South Warehouse property at the 111 West Beach Street. And what I handed out was the current application that we have right now. And we're still working on it a little bit. It's due on November 14th.
Okay. Anything we need to add?
Just that it will address a significant spill that is affecting all of 112 and upstairs 112 and all of 114 at this point. And then once they have the spill addressed, then they will come back, and then a contractor would come back and address the actual abatement work. So that's a little different than a usual abatement project.
Okay. What about notification of the public hearing? Was it published and everything done properly according to the public hearing?
Yes, it was notified and published in the paper on October 11th, in the Kiowa County Press. And it was also posted on the city complex at the front entrance per our requirements.
Anything else you want to add before we move on with the rest of the next step?
If you recall, we received $50,000 grant from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. So this would be in addition to that amount, so that we can fully address the abatement issues.
What was the dollar amount of this? Do you not know yet, or? Approximate?
792,000 is where we're at right now. 792, right? In there.
A lot,
Over 500,000.
over 500, over $500,000 to clean it up. Okay, all right. with everything all done and completed. Um,
It is a draft at this point, so if you see a typo. And then what we're gonna do from here is send it to KSU CAB. That they're the technical assistant arm for brownfield grants, and they were very willing to read through it, needed their recommendations or suggestions. And then we also need to send it to CDPHE so they can write a corresponding letter saying we endorse this project, and that needs to go into the application.
And there's a budget for the project. We don't have the pages numbered. It's in section 3. Several pages back, there's budget categories. The total was 764,838. So we may tweak that a little bit, make it a round amount, probably, or try to. We don't
That's
usually.
just for remediation.
yes.
For this bill. And really, the South Warehouse has an additional spill and some asbestos as well. So it's not just the 112. It'll address those 3 addresses.
I was just pointing out that for one building on Main Street, one phase of the project,
Yes.
for people who have thoughts on why are there some dilapidated buildings that we're not just all doing at once.
Right.
Because one phase of this is over $760,000.
Right.
Well, this is just the asbestos abatement.
That's what I'm
phase,
saying.
of course.
This-
Yeah.
That's
Once
not
you
even
do that-
renovation, that's.
Yeah, you still have the demolition and renovation and I mean, that's,
Electric and plumbing up the code. I mean, there's a lot.
yeah. And if it wasn't for grants like this, the building would never have been utilized. It would just deteriorate.
Have more pocket parks.
Yeah, more pocket parks. Well, we couldn't even do the pocket park.
No, no.
Because you can't demolish it until we do
No.
this portion of it.
Yep.
Right? So you couldn't even demolish it without
No.
having this abated. So, all right, with that said, I do notice you have Keely Campbell online. Was she part of your,
So Keely is the heirs associate that is, absolute blessing when it comes to our brownfields, grant. She has been working with us on this grant.
Okay.
She's who we signed the letter of agreement with for assistance to help write this grant. So
Yes.
well, I didn't know if she wanted to speak on behalf of the staff report, initial staff report
So.
or not?
Do you have any? Keely, do you have any suggestions or any, technical data that you'd like to throw at council?
Sure. Hey, Lamar. I will add, so while this grant is specifically for the main cafe property in the South Warehouse for that phase of the project, this is a site-specific cleanup grant that has an annual application cycle. So the good news is, the city is taking proactive steps to get this property cleaned up and redeveloped. Should other properties come along that need a remediation, whether that is asbestos and lead, if it's soil and groundwater, this grant remains available for additional properties in future years, should that come up. So just want to make sure that y'all know that it will hopefully continue to be funded as it has been historically since roughly the 90s.
Great. Okay. With no other additions to the staff presentation, I will now open the floor to anyone that is in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak for or against it? Seeing none, I will now close the floor. We will move on to any questions or clarifications from the council. Council, do you have any questions before we move out of this public hearing? We need to close the hearing after we do the questions, clarifications.
No questions.
Has this been the most intensive grant you've helped write so far?
she's really been working on her other EPA one, which is
Okay.
the CDS, and it's just about as bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's challenging, it's so different.
Yeah.
And then it's trying to
learn it, understand.
All right, with no other questions or clarification, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, at this point, the council will need to make a decision on approving or denying this
There's
application.
no
right?
decision.
There's no decision on this. We just move on.
You already gave us permission to apply, so this was just a way for the
Part of the
public.
process.
Yep.
Okay, so there's no real action for the council to take on this. With no further discussion, we'll just move on. Thank you very much. I had it still on my agenda. It's a
No, yeah,
question,
and I,
so.
this one's a little weird. It's just
Yeah.
part of the process.
All right, moving on. We have agenda item number 2, adopt resolution 2410-02 to adopt 2025 rates and fee schedule. This does have a correction for the resolution number. It should be 2410-02 for the council's reference. And this is the annual rates and fee schedule that we would be going through, right? Would you like to
Yes.
speak on that, Kristen?
Yes, so Rob and his directors have all gotten back with me and given me their recommendations for the 2025. This would take effect January 1 of 2025. There were a few, I was trying to get them, maybe just go in order. I apologize. I handed out some, I thought it might be easier in looking on your screen, but I didn't copy it in color. But you can see the column that will have the 2025 proposed is out to the right. I believe the first changes, unless I missed something, we're going to add the historical, let's see, that was on page 3. Historic designation application fee, which is something that our website says that we charge. And it needed to be added to the fee schedule to follow that criteria that was already established for historic preservation or designation application fees. So that was $50. Then the mobile food vendor, and I got those in the wrong column, so that was my fault. A special event, you guys had discussed that when we were talking about the mobile food trucks and things. And so Linda had suggested a $5 fee for getting that special event permit.
It's on the agenda later for you guys.
And later, so I just put it in there and to see if you felt like that fee was appropriate.
I did, and this is per application, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It was each on that one, so each application.
each application.
Mhm.
The reason why I'm asking is that was a question that the chamber brought up. If they apply and say that they're gonna have 10 food vendors, are they gonna have to pay the $5 fee or are they gonna have to pay
Well, I believe
$50?
the vendors would have to come get the permit. Each vendor would have to come get their own.
So we would have to approve
No.
every single vendor?
No, Linda said no.
If the chamber was having an event and they were gonna have multiple food trucks, they would apply one application and
Just
say we're gonna
okay.
have.
Sorry.
X
I
amount of
misspoke.
food trucks.
Exactly.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was clarified.
Okay, sorry about that. I misunderstood that as well.
Okay.
And then they recommended, Stephanie and Anne Marie recommended an increase on the zoning and planning fees. And I believe we went up 5% on those to help cover costs. She asked to remove the asbestos permit just because of the process. We don't issue those permits. Those are done through the state. So she wanted me to have that removed. So all of those, other than that, all of those fees were raised 5%. There were no changes in the rest of her fees, I don't believe.
Okay.
Let's see. I believe the next section that had changes where there were a few on animal control, I believe is on page 15. There was a dog running at large fee that was put in here. And I believe we were charging that in the past, right? And it was $50. and hadn't been indicated in the fee schedule, so we wanted to add that and bump it. I'll recommend we bump that to 100.
And we did have a discussion on that
Oh,
earlier,
correction.
Rob and I, and
Mhm.
Mel, about that, where these were for, and the issue was, there's been a lot of dog running at large issues, and our code enforcement is having to run and catch them, and it's been kind of an epidemic from my understanding.
640 calls for service this year. So that's 64 calls average every month. So 2.5 times a day, he's got to go chase down a dog that we don't have any help with. So that's just the average. Some days are worse than others.
So this is one of those clamping down to make sure that people are taking care of your animals and making sure that you're being mindful to watch them and keep them
Right.
as should be.
Right. And then Mike Bilmy was going through and making sure he'd caught one more thing that we were actually charging, and there was a fee on the, under the administrative fee. We had the first offense in the fee schedule of 250, but then what they have been doing in practice was the second offense was 500, third or more was 1,000. So I just wanted to catch the book up with what was actually being practiced there and
This
make
is
it more
for
clear and
city cleanup.
defined. Yes.
City cleanup, is that what this is?
Yes.
That fee does not include the costs for equipment and manpower, though? Or is
No.
that-
No.
No, those go off of that schedule at the end, and you'll see that we upped that a little bit too because of wages.
That Progressive keeps them from using us as a very cheap way to mow their yard.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Then the next changes are water. We're following the rate schedule that was adopted by council. This was what was recommended for 2025. So those are according to that schedule that we were on. And so that goes all the way through water.
Okay.
Sanitation rates on 20, I understood there was some increases in state fees and we needed to keep up with that, so. They went through and raised, the fees in sanitation.
Is that all a percentage rate?
I believe it was a 5% increase in those. Yes,
This was also part of the rate study that we did last year. Is that part of this?
no, this is separate fund,
Right.
but
Making sure.
they Press had told me that there was increases in the state landfill fees and things like that, so we needed to make sure that we could cover the cost
Okay.
of those, and so we did it as a flat rate across the board
Fee.
on that. Yes, sir. And then on page 22, we did an increase for labor rates, and we hadn't, Tressa did a really good job of just clarifying, that it showing that if it was outside regular working hours. So this reads a lot cleaner than the last year's copy. And then increased the rates for each of the pieces of equipment.
Now, I know we had the discussion about trying to sub out some of these cleanups in the future.
We had talked about that, and if you want to do that, we can do that and bid it out after the first of the year. I had never gotten a final okay from everybody, but we can definitely do that. We had talked about maybe after the first of the year, trying to bid that out. There's some things that need sorted out on it, because there's such different kinds of cleanups. And some of them need large equipment and some of them just need mowers, so how do we bid that out and get a contractor that can do that type of thing? And so we had discussed maybe putting them on a rotation basis. And if they couldn't do it, then we go down to the next one on the list, and maybe all qualified bidders could get on a rotation list similar to what we do for towing. So that, I think that's kind of where we had landed. I hadn't thought much more about it. I mean, I haven't put anything together for an RFP, but it is probably something that maybe Rob can discuss.
Yeah,
and,
we had
get us some
prepared
information.
for this year. If there had been a few more instances to come up this year, we had some money available to go out and hire somebody on a, not an emergency basis, but because we were working on streets at the same time, if we couldn't get to it. Luckily, we had one day there that we got one done. And so we were able to handle them this year. But we were prepared and we had talked about it and we were gonna pull a trigger if we had to, but it ended up this year we were okay.
The whole intent of that discussion, my understanding, council can correct me if I'm wrong, was to try to take that, that burden off of the city staff and put it back on to the property owners and let them pay basically a premium rate to do exactly what they're gonna do, which is go out and find a contractor to do the work, rather than the property owners relying on the city to be the contractor. So it was just a way of trying to bring that back to the property owners to take care of their own property. And I don't know what Pat's thoughts were on that, or, if you were for or against that idea. It's just trying to free up your guys to do the job that they're supposed to be doing. Was the idea,
During a busy time for them.
Yeah,
especially during a busy time.
he was okay with it. I can guarantee you with helping him out during those times.
Yeah.
Am I right, Pat?
So is that something the council wants to look at after the first of the year? Or do you want to
Yes.
drop it?
I think we talked about it. It was a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's something we want to move forward with.
I believe we mentioned that we'd use it for 1 year and find out how it's gonna benefit the city.
Right.
Yep.
So if we can look at it next year.
So
that
we'll
would be
get
great.
something put together. We'll work together, kind of getting a scope and.
But we
what's the
do need
best
to
way
have
run
these
it, and we'll
increases.
Get it out. Yeah,
Yeah, we do need these
we
increases.
still do on,
In
yeah,
now.
on things and it helps quantify for grants and things like that too. When we have in kind as part of our match, we use this schedule as well.
Okay.
So
I
did you-
didn't see any issues with the increases of equipment and labor there.
And then on the last page, we were just cleaning up in the library and those other fees for faxes. It just isn't applicable anymore. So we're just gonna remove them out of to clean the
Fact.
book up. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't get charged for those,
Okay.
so we don't.
Okay, any other questions from the council about the fees that are being proposed?
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
So we're just asking if you're okay with it to go ahead and, we're recommending to pass the resolution.
Okay, so we would just need a motion to pass the resolution, adopting the city of Lamar rates and fees schedule for 2025 with the modification of 24-10-02 as the resolution number.
So move.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as stated with the modification of the resolution number to be 24-10-02. Is that correct?
Correct.
Hey, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Moving on, we have award bid 44-012 for legal paper of record. Kristen?
Hi, yes, we had gone out for bid for a legal paper of record since the ledger had closed. Right? Yeah, the ledger had closed. So we solicited bids. They were advertised in the local paper on September 27th. We mailed out 3 local RFPs to the Prowers Journal, to the Tri-State Exchange, and to the Kiowa County Press. Two proposals were received and accepted by me by 5 o'clock on October 22nd. We held the bid opening on October 23rd. I acknowledged the bids and they were accepted, both bids. Tri-State Exchange bid to follow the statute. The statute 20-70 lays out all of the aspects of legal publications, including cost, size of columns, type size, things like that. So the Tri-State Exchange did bid to follow the prices established in the statute, which is a rate of 44 cents per line for the first publication and 32 cents per line for subsequent publications. The Kiowa County Press bid 0.408 for the first publication and 0.285, which was substantially lower than the statute requires. Both bidders agreed to follow all other parts of CRS 20-70. Tri-State Exchange is located in the county and they get 5% preference points. The Kiowa County Press bid 7% less. So it's staff recommendation that we go with the Kiowa County Press for the remainder of 2024, as they were already established, and for 2025, and then we'll rebid it for 2026.
Any questions from the council? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I did call Kristen earlier today and just verified that she had sent it out to multiple entities, which she had. So this was a great job on trying to get this out. I know it was a rush item since we had the ledger closed. With no other discussion, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, agenda item number 4, review and possible approval of mobile food vendor special events permit application. This is initiated by our city clerk. Linda, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. So with the creation of ordinance 1273, amending the chapter 8, article 1 of the mobile food vendors and ice cream vendors, council requested that we create a special event permit application for all food truck and push cart vendors. I've created it, which it's attached. I just need some input on if they feel it's sufficient. Do we want to charge a fee?
Is this that $5 fee that was in the?
It is.
Okay.
And I just put $5 in there. It's neither here nor there to me, what you would like us to charge.
I think the $5 administrative fee is appropriate. It's not, something that's going to be a huge burden on the vendors, but at the same time, it will be enough to, help offset the administrative costs for our staff to go out and review these applications.
And so it would not always fall just on the vendor, it would fall on the host. So for Lamar Days, there'd be one $5 application filled out.
Right, so like when Mr. Cook decides to come in and say, I want to host Lamar Days in the park, I'm gonna have 20+ vendors there, he would fill out an application with all the pertinent information. He doesn't even have to list the vendors, just that this is what he's gonna have.
He's gonna have
And then-
vendors at the site.
As these come in, I would make council aware that there's gonna be an event with so many food vendors there.
And I would say that, under that same event, for instance, if Mr. Cook came in and had 15 vendors at the Lamar Days event, yet there was 2 vendors that wanted to be downtown in Lamar, that's not included in the same event, obviously. So they would have to apply for their own separate, because it's, even though they're doing it on Lamar Days, they're not part of that application and inside that organization
At the same location.
at the same location,
Okay.
right?
That makes,
So they would need to be under the same location, registered with that organizer and as part of that organization's event. Just wanted to
saying-
clarify that.
We saying $5 per vendor or per application then?
For application.
Yep. It makes them fill it out. It makes them check the lot.
As far as those bullet points that we had in the draft ordinance, kind of outlining what they can and can't do with the special event permit, will that be a separate portion that gets brought back to us?
I guess I'm gonna have to go back and review
In that
what
draft,
you're referring to.
there were things like, tables, chairs, menu signs, things of that nature.
I
That we
thought we
removed.
took that stuff out.
They removed it out of there, and I had made the point that that would be things we should look at for the special event permit. To give them clarification on what they can and cannot do on city property, like the, you know. That was part of that conversation.
I'm gonna have to go back and review that, cause I didn't add that to this, which I.
Would that have to, would that need to go on here, or could that be separate as like guidelines?
I would say that should be. What I was gonna recommend is that we add a statement on here saying whoever fills out this special use permit. Will be responsible for the vendors that are under their event permit. So if a vendor. Does something that's not,
It doesn't go to, that isn't up to what the current.
up to code or up to the ordinance requirements are. Then it would be up to Mr. Cook, for instance, on the Lamar days,
For the chamber
or
or
the chamber, or
an
whoever.
individual who wants to put out their food truck. or
They
something.
would be responsible for the vendors under that application. Is that,
I think that would cover
would
most
that be
things.
difficult to do?
Do you wanna reread that or re-say that so I can write it down?
They just need to have a say, when they sign this, they need to understand that they are taking on the responsibility of the food vendors that will be under their event.
And they must follow the ordinance.
Yeah, the
number, blah, blah,
applicant.
blah.
And follow the ordinance
The
or,
applicant is responsible for following all ordinances and codes of the city of Lamar, including of the vendors that will be participating, something along those lines.
and if they don't want to do that, then they can require the food vendors to get their own permits.
Can we make that, if we make a motion, can we make it contingent on Lance just looking over it?
Yeah, it's your motion if you want to do that.
You made the suggestion.
But it's your motion.
I move to do just that with the contingency of Lance's approval.
Mainly, we want to put the onus on the applicant. If the applicant is requesting for themselves or for other food vendors, the applicant needs to know that this is their responsibility. They're, to make sure that their food vendors are following the rules and regulations of the city of Lamar.
I see this is, we don't have to go down and chase down each vendor. We go to the person.
Right. If there's somebody in the middle of the street or parked on an area they're not supposed to be, we don't need to go to that vendor. We need to go to the applicant and say, fix this. They could fix it. Yeah,
I'll second that with, including with having Lance review it.
okay. So we have a motion to approve the mobile food vendor permit or application with the addition of the verbiage for responsibility and a review by the city attorney. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Rob? Everybody else good with that?
Same.
And we had a motion and do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
I think the thing we need to remember is this is an application. So again, it'll be a living document that'll change as we go as the needs are modified. So I'm sure there'll be some variations of this. Next item on the agenda is an appointment to the Lamar Utilities Board with Mr. Roger Stagner moving on as a county commissioner. He resigned from the Lamar Utilities Board effective July 23rd, 2024. This created an unexpected vacancy on the board. After a little bit of prodding, Hussein received an application from Elmer Gret. And inside your packet, you have the application for Mr. Gret, as well as the recommendation from Jay Brooks, the LUB Vice Chairman, who is requesting to have Elmer Gret appointed. So we would just need to approve or deny this.
I move that we approve Elmer Gret.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Elmer Gret's appointment to the Lamar Utilities Board. Any final questions? All those in favor signify with an eye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Item number 6, approve letter of agreement with JBA for Lamar Water Distribution Improvements. This is initiated by Pat Mason. Pat?
So. Back, this one, there's some like American Rescue Fund, eventually available that do a water distribution project, but I think something out of a master plan that we just come up with and, you know, something that kept us awake at night. So this Willow Valley Waterline project definitely came to my mind, so there's approximately 2,750 feet of 70-year-old cast iron water line that's been giving us some issues here lately. And over the years, I think this thing's been built over with houses and structures, and it's really difficult to even get to it anymore to repair it. So this is one project that we'd really like to get it signed and ready, shovel ready, so to speak, by next year. We can bid it out and try to get this thing done. So JVA being our record that we use for everything right now is basically written an agreement up to design the project and basically we include bid documents. Turnkey project for, I think it's $126,100. Try to expedite it and get it done by December, if all possible, so they're ready to get it done next year.
Yeah, I have to have the project completely identified by 12/31 in the portal for the NEU money. So this would allow us to have a good cost estimate and a design and a scope for me to enter into that. And then we could go ahead, like Pat said, in 25 then and bid the project out and get it done. The completion date has to be by 12/31 of 26.
So this will bypass some of the old cast iron that are under yards and things of that nature. So I know there were some areas where they ran the line through somebody's front yard or backyard or alleyway, and that can be a problem if we have a leak.
Or they built over.
Or they built over it.
Most recent incident we had up there was in a backyard. And we realized we had to go through a neighbor's backyard and take part of the fence down with a mini excavator to get in there to repair it, but the line was literally running under their house.
Oh,
So fortunately, it hadn't broke under the house, but it was in the backyard. We were able to get to it and repair it. It needs to be replaced. So
okay.
what we do is move that line to the street side. We put it in the street, run all new services from the street side to the houses.
Okay. All right. Council, do you have any questions? I don't have any. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Allow the mayor to sign.
I have a motion and a second to approve the letter or the agreement and authorize the mayor's signature. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you. Social Media Archive. This is initiated by Thomas Sanchez, our IT director. This is Social Media Archive Company. I'll let you explain this all to the council.
We are required to archive our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, I don't think YouTube, but all of our social media accounts that we have throughout the city are required to be archived for legal reasons. We have a handful of them, 10 maybe. So it's the police department, the animal shelter, the library has a few, fire department has a couple. But we have an archive. This isn't something new. I just want to switch companies because the current company that we use was purchased by another, but we won't go into that. But anyway, it's kind of cumbersome. We have to have a different login for each one of those accounts. So we have to have a login for the library, login for, and they're all tied to city mail. But if I want to go check something, I have to go remember which login is tied to who. So with a new company, one login for everybody. And It's about the same amount of money. I think we pay about $1,800. I think this week is gonna be about $2,000 a year. Minus the setup fee, but that's a one-time deal. So I think the cost is negligible. In the process of trying to export some of our current information out of our existing social archive. It's a little bit cumbersome as you have to be very specific in what you want to look up, and I think that kind of is counterintuitive. Because somebody asked me what did the mayor say on our city Facebook page on, and I type in mayor. That's not, I have to know the day, the time, and the general area, and I can't really do that. Very accurate. For, if anything shows up, so, oh, that's switch this nothing. And, Legal reviewed it, there is a, I don't know the proper term, Lance has reviewed it. And it has, exception clause, therefore does not require an addendum.
Okay, so Lance has approved the contract and reviewed it, so. All right, council?
I don't have any questions, but I'll make a motion to approve the new lease agreement and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Do we have any miscellaneous items, things we need to discuss? Anne Marie does.
So I hope I'm saving the best for last. But we received a generous donation from the Stanley Trust a few months ago that would help with costs for adopting dogs. And we have done a soft launch of it. And we've adopted about 10 to 15 dogs out. So not only does it cover the adoption fee, but it includes a bag with all of the supplies that you need to walk out with your pet, including the leash, a collar, a brush, and all kinds of things. Because of an additional grant from the Colorado Pet Food Population Fund, the dogs that are adopted out also are microchipped. So we hopefully and dogs running at large can get back to their owners. But I just wanted to thank the Standing Trust for their help in making that happen. And I want to invite people who are looking for a pet to go to a Lamar Animal Shelter. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but now it shouldn't be a burden to adopt that pet. And there are limited funds, so I think there's about 50 adoptions that we can do at this point. So we've got a lot of adoptions to do. And Stanley Trust is also helping with our dog park.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like the Stanley Hotel.
Maggie Slimley was a in the 90s. Her legacy is doing those two great things for animals in our town.
That's awesome.
That's great. Thank you. Speaking of that, the dog park, I know we were waiting for some parts to come in, is that right?
Yes, and they're not all of them are in yet, but we are ready to go. I mean, weather
Slow
will,
season.
right?
Okay, so over the next couple of months, we'll be working on that, trying to,
Weather dependent, we will get that in very, very soon, and I will make sure you guys get, when that thing gets up, you guys will get pictures.
just checking.
We have two sources of money for that, so there's separate pieces of it being done. With our CCOG grant, we need to be done with that portion of it by March 31st. So that portion of it is sod, and the water lines and the water. So that part, Anthony's assured us will be done by
March.
Okay. Great. All right, any other miscellaneous items? Council? Seeing none, our next agenda item is an executive session for a conference with the city attorney for the purposes of receiving advice on specific legal questions under Colorado Revised Statutes 246402, subsection 4, subsection B, regarding ongoing negotiations for a public safety building. We would just need to get a motion to go into an executive session.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
I will note that there will be no decisions coming out of the executive session. So we will end the general council meeting following the executive session. Our next meeting is Monday, November the 11th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We hope to see you then. Thank you very much.
And end of October.
Dawn's gonna stay in here.
Yeah, we need to stay here. Yes, yes. Can you text him?
Is that? it took
Can
a
you
long
chat
time.
with him on there and tell him? Hey, Don,
No.
Yeah.
So.
he's gonna be cutting the stream.
But I'm gonna open the Zoom right back up.
He's gonna open it back up. We're not cutting you off and we're not saying we need you here for this next one.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll cut the stream now. Are we just gonna stay in here?
Yeah, we need to. Hi, Galen. See you.
Said something about. Not the breakfast. But there's a community